This tutorial will give you information on how to graph quadratic equations with the graphical calculator, as well as find the x and y intercepts of the quadratic equation with the graphical calculator. If you notice on my paper, I have the quadratic equation y equals x squared minus 5x minus 6. Now, a quadratic equation, the reason this is a quadratic equation is because the exponent is 2, highest exponent is 2. So in order to graph this, we graph it the same way that we did with the linear equation. We first hit y equals, and we got to plug in x squared minus 5x minus 6. What's new here is we have to have a way to plug in the exponent too. The way we do that is we use what I call the hat button. It's in the right hand side in the middle. Okay, we use that for any type of exponent. So in order to graph this equation in the y equals button, we plug in the variable x hat 2, that's your x squared, minus 5 times x minus 6, and hit graph. Now notice the shape of this. Okay, first thing I want to notice is the window settings here are minus 5 to plus 5 and for the x value, and minus 20 to plus 20 on the y values. Notice we have one x-intercept here, but this appears to curve back upward. We don't have the second x-intercept in the graph. So we have to go, this is an example where you have to go and change the window settings so that we can fit the graph with the intercepts in one window. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can put it back into your standard form by hitting zoom 6, or we can simply go into the window button and change the window settings. I'm going to do it the hard way. I'm going to hit the window button. I'm going to change x-min and x-max back to a minus 10 for the x-min, plus 10 for an x-max. I'm going to change the y-min back to a minus 10, plus 10, okay, with a scaling of 1, and regraph this. Notice when I do that, both the intercepts come into the window. Okay, now to find the x and y intercepts, we do it the same way as we did in the previous tutorial. To find the y-intercept, I use the value function. Okay, the value function, what we access by hitting second calc, 1 for value, and being that we're looking for a y-intercept, x is going to equal to 0, and we're going to hit enter. So we get the value of 0, negative 6 as the y-intercept. Now, to do the x-intercept, let me move the paper up so we can see it. Okay. To do the x-intercepts, we do the 0 function as before. What's different here is I have not 1 but 2 x-intercepts. So I'm going to have to do the 0 function for each of these x-intercepts. Do not try to do the 0 function for both of them at the same time. You will get an error. You have to do it one at a time. So for the first x-intercept, we're going to hit second calc, 2 for 0. We're going to move to the left-hand side of the first x-intercept. Make sure you're not on it. Make sure you're to the left. Hit enter. Move to the right hand side. Just have to be a little bit below it. Hit enter. Hit enter on guess. And it gives me 1, 0 to be negative 1, 0. Or one intercept being negative 1, 0. We have to do the same thing for the second x-intercept. Hit second calc. 2 for 0. Now because we already are to the left, you still want to move it closer. Notice as I move to the right, that trace button goes along, even though you can't see it for a while eventually. It's going to come back. Okay. You want to make sure you're a couple tick marks below so you don't get any interference. So you go to the left hand side of that point. Go to the right hand side of that point, hit enter. Gives me the second intercept to be 6, 0. Now, to put this in perspective, these are the two x-intercepts. You also can think of negative 1 and 6 as two solutions to that equation, which we talked about solutions of equations before. Because there's an exponent of 2, you can have at most 2 solutions. In this case, the 2 solutions would be a negative 1 and a 6. This concludes my tutorial on graphing quadratic equations with the graphical calculator.